Yeah, Sketch. You don't like Oasis though.
Huh?
You don't like Oasis though, right?
I don't like Oasis?
I thought you said you didn't like Oasis.
I don't know.
Because I thought we were listening to 90s music, and you were like, nah, skip Oasis, though.
I can go without it.
Yeah?
That might have been Adam that said that.
Oh, it might have been Adam.
Adam does not like Oasis.
Why does Adam not like Oasis?
I think it just comes from the fact that, like, there's always someone
Yeah.
who thinks they can sing Wonderwall. And Adam likes to avoid those situations. So,
This makes sense.
yeah, so Adam's like, I don't like Oasis. But what I think Adam actually doesn't like is people trying to sing Oasis. Because even Oasis can't sing Oasis. Tone deaf song in the world, but I still enjoy it.
Look at this graph.
Yeah, I guess like that's supposed to be the appeal is that they can't really sing.
So anybody can do it.
I don't know if I would say anybody can do it.
Yeah.
It's anyone can fail.
Everyone can fail.
And if you fail, then it's accurate still. So you're fine.
And you're in good company because we're your friends.
Yay. Hi.
Hello. How we do, people?
We're doing okay.
Yeah?
I'm tired.
He's tired.
You don't say.
There's all this setup. Oh my God.
There is a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that you guys aren't getting, but if you follow our Instagram, you can check it out. You can see the whole setup.
And according to my cardigan, I'm an old man.
Yes. Who's going to overheat? And it's going to be hilarious.
I love it.
Oh,
I love the heat.
But who are we?
We are your friends.
That's right. We're just a couple of artists here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We like to get together, hang out, shoot shit, and talk about art stuff or friendship stuff.
Friendship stuff.
sometimes we fart.
Stuff.
And burp.
Mostly Alvaro and I.
Mostly, yes. Mostly,
And
yes.
Sketch puts up with us.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
I can't right now
Yes.
because if I do,
Yeah.
it's going to be a problem.
It's a whole affair, really.
Yeah.
Indeedy.
I got a lot of Danishes this morning, so
Oh. Oh, dear. It's a lot of butter.
It is. That's the
Ooh.
key ingredient, man. You got to put the butter.
Yep.
Got to put the butter.
yeah.
But yeah, we're bringing the butter to you, I guess, in terms of content.
What's going on, Alvaro?
see-
What's happening?
See, yeah, no, not much for me this week. Still
Bringing the butter, apparently.
bringing the butter 2023. That's gonna be a thing now. Bringing the butter. Watch, y'all gotta make it viral. No, just still dealing with the aftermath of stuff at work. So we're still navigating that stuff, which is interesting to say the least. I did get myself a very cool book for class, a design book.
Nice.
Yes.
What's it called?
Fuck.
It's a great title.
I took a picture of it because
What
I
a-
had to.
what a title.
I had to share it.
Also the title of my biography.
Fuck.
Yep.
Drawing attention, custom illustration solutions for brands today. So it's definitely, I think, more of a design book.
Yeah.
But beautiful in how the layout and all the illustrations for all these different packaging and stuff like that. It's
Nice.
Oh man, it lifts up my hope in terms of like actual art. Because like Mom's Basement video about the AI anime, I was like, hope in humanity. Ooh.
Yeah, we were just talking about that because I was bringing it up to Toby earlier.
Oh my god, that is a shit show, isn't it?
There's another person that did a video, and also what annoys me is like Nico and those guys' response to everyone's criticism of it. It's not great.
No.
And I don't think it's. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah.
There's a large sector of people that just don't give a fuck about art.
I'll say this: a lot of these people that are having comments about it are
Yeah.
like fans of anime, but are not. I don't think they're animators. Like they're not
Yeah.
really in the world of like doing art, which is like I'm not saying like their opinions are not valid, but like I want to hear the perspective of people that are working in that because they make really good points in those videos where a lot of these animators are already having like in Japan they don't get paid that much
No.
No.
for it. So this is kind of like making it worse. And at the same time, it's like solving a problem that didn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
Who the fuck said like this was a problem? Like, oh no. And the thing is, like, it's solving a problem for people that couldn't animate, that couldn't do art, and are making it. That's where it's coming from. And it's like, okay, you can just try to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And you know, we're talking about. See, this is the thing. We need to like really bring up the topic of what we're saying. Quick, I'll just say this. Like for that one, we're talking about Corridor Digital launched a short animation of not animation. They should have made a short video of them using AI to create an anime.
and all the fingers.
But what they used was they basically like it's almost like all the frames were being calculated by AI to look a lot very very close to Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust Madhouse animations. They took the style and trained the AI to generate their faces to look like that. Great compositing, great directing of like angles and like the actors and stuff like that. But if you really break it down, this really belongs more. And my Sonny mentioned this. It really belongs to like Scanner Darkly category.
Yeah.
Like Loving Vincent, like rotoscoping basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That's kind of where this really belongs to more than it is animation, like literally hand animation done. And so I don't think there's any like threat to animation in general, but you know, it's the way people word things on YouTube where they're trying to be clickbaity. So then they say like, did we change animation forever? Mm-hmm. And you're like,
No.
Answer is no, because you're not animating at all. You are creating a filter of your face on it. That's not the same thing. You have more relations to rotoscoping than you are to animation, which is like still a valid medium. You could go with that, but don't say you're one and not the other. Like you're just not. It's not the same thing. So that's my opinion of it. But these are the things that we're gonna get a lot because they just like, and the other issue is the fact that they used Vampire Hunter D Blood, like Madhouse's like art style, and then like literally just ripped it. That's a copyrighted material. You ripped it and then trained your AI to generate more stuff. So you basically copied it and then used it. And some people were saying, why didn't you just get an artist to create the data set specifically for this to be trained under?
Yeah.
Pretty simple. No, they didn't want it. They wanted the very known and big franchise for what it was to be used. So you basically use copyrighted stuff. So
Yeah, exactly.
and then and the real issue is the fact that it's they made money off of it. You know,
Yeah.
the views that you get money off of it and the paywall that you created to access all the stuff that you did to it. That's
Yeah. Like you made money off of copyrighted material.
That's kind of fucked up.
So
you know, that's kind of where, and it's funny because these are the guys who made a video talking about the lawsuits and all that stuff about AI.
yeah.
And
It's
you're
like,
going,
did you guys
totally cool.
Yeah.
Really?
It's like, did you guys pay attention to your own research material?
Yeah, I thought you guys researched this. Like, so anyway, they're kind of being dicks about it and like responding and like doubling down and like trolling other. I don't know, saying all these like responses, and I was like, well, okay, cool. No, I don't really
Jive with that.
Honestly, I've never really liked them that much.
No.
To be honest with you,
Even back in the heyday of
they're talking
early YouTube.
about, because I like their early videos where they're just making animations. But when they started doing VFX artist reacts, it's like
Is that punching down?
you're trolling against, like, not really, but like you're trolling, like you're picking on all these guys when you know their main problem is time.
Yeah.
And they've had professional VFX artists talk about that very same thing. And then they go, oh yeah, like they nod yes, because they look up to these people. So then when they're in the room, they're like, oh yeah, we'll stroke their dicks and shit. But like when they're not there, they're like, hey, did you see that they missed it? Yeah, man, you weren't there when they had to do it.
Exactly.
Like I see Sonny's like struggles every day on all that stuff. And like these guys, they don't have to do that because they don't work in movies.
Yeah.
They make their own videos and do whatever the hell they want. But yet they get to like, shit on other people's work, and they try so hard. But that's also like the mentality of like, that's the toxicity of like VFX industry,
Yeah.
everyone's like that. Literally everybody from other other VFX houses like go and
They
watch a
just
movie
point.
and they go
Pointing out all the mistakes.
it's literally like, you know, and then you can kind of say the same thing about artists. Artists like shit on each other's work.
Yeah, well, how many are there
Constantly.
like where it's like, oh, roasting my viewers' artwork?
Oh my
Or,
God.
like roasting
I hate those
deviant
videos.
artwork. I'm like, no, man, like, come on.
Like roasting professionals' work. I'm like, yeah, shut
Yeah,
the fuck up, dude. You don't know what the fuck
exactly.
you're talking about. And it's like this day and age, like it's so hot right now to be talking like that it's so toxic that it's like there's just like no respect on each other's stuff. But
To just shit on each other.
But
basically.
honestly, man, like I've been shit on in like forums, you know, with my work, and I've, you know, done so much work on it, and like these people that like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it kind of just comes with the territory. It's always been toxic, is what I'm saying, I guess. Like, you know,
But it does affect you in the long run. Like,
Yeah.
or especially like young artists, like it does affect the perspective of how your work should be.
Yeah.
Like there's so many videos that I've seen where people will talk about like, oh, when should I know when I'm good enough to start this or when I'm good enough to do that or so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're good enough when you think you're ready.
Yeah.
You know, and there's this like huge push for artists to like be professional before they do anything. But it's
Yeah.
like, no, man, like,
Like you gotta be like squeaky fucking clean and like
Yeah,
perfect
exactly.
when you're making. It's like, no, man.
No, you
Did
don't.
you just see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles first issue?
yeah.
And people read that for the content, like, you know what I mean, like the just like the topic and the storytelling, like just do you and
Exactly.
and make something. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just,
Perfectionism's a lie.
it is. Exactly.
Yeah.
Why are we so obsessed with it as a society? You know, obviously, if you look in this room, me and Toby being the example, clearly,
Of perfection.
Yes.
of not accepting perfection.
Perfection.
He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
You don't know shit, son. I am perfection in
You
all
guys
that
are-
I am.
You guys are perfect.
Thank
No,
you.
I just meant like we're clearly more like whatever. We'll do whatever we want.
Yeah.
Kind of energy. Instead of like trying to cater to some kind of fucking
Oh,
or somebody.
I'm definitely a perfectionist to some
know.
degree with my work,
Yeah.
despite the fact that I try not to be.
I think,
You know.
yeah, I think there's like a level of you can strive, but you can also know that there's no such thing as perfection,
Yeah.
right? It's like overshooting, but being happy where you land, right? Because you're gonna get it, like you're gonna nail it if you kind of just like, you know, find the extremes of like where you can go, not doing like barely, you know, like phoning it in versus like the absolute fucking best you can do,
But like
Yeah.
right?
in terms of art and culture and like media, why do you think there's such an obsession with seeking out perfection that it's not really
I think-
there? You know.
I think the way like the world promotes it so much, you know what I mean? And like the way parenting works. If your parents or like, you know, older generation that tends to like pressure the young to like do it right or do it better, you know, like, I mean, definitely my parents, my dad specifically, like drilled, you know, I was never good enough for like anything that I do. Like he'd find all the little issues of what I do and, you know, all that kinds of stuff. And you're just like striving for their approval so that, you know, you attach like approval to see if you're going right in life, like if you're going in the right direction in life, which is like not true. Like there's
Yeah.
there's like so many more dimensions to it. But when you're young, it's very simple and clear cut. You know, it's like night and day, right?
You don't know any better.
Yeah, and also like it's not that complicated when you're young, even though it kind of is, right? And so you attach that to your art, you attach that to the work that you do, and you're hoping that it'll like fix a lot of things if you know, you really make it like, because it's the only thing that you have, right? Like your artwork. Let's say when I was young, I was a kid, I was like, all that mattered to me was my artwork, was trying to like do better in it, you know? And I
But-
made a ton
but
of
was
like
it-
shitty comics.
But was it your artwork in the eyes of your father or your eyes only?
See, it's funny because in life, I needed approval that I was doing okay so that my dad wouldn't like kill me. But my art was all
was
for
your-
me. That
that
was
was
all
yours.
for me. It was my own little world where I can do whatever I want and be me and do whatever. But it was hard because like, you know, it always like life always interrupted,
Yeah.
you know? And I think my maturity level hit when I realized that like art is life. That is my life. That is who I am. And that, when it started to like really collide together and really like, you know, as an adult, it's like, no, my money comes from my art. So, and then so it started other things, you know, my inspiration came from life. My style came from everything else started falling in. It was like, oh, these are like together. Like my life is my art, you know, art is life. So when you have that all together, it didn't matter to me if it was like perfect or not. Even though now I'm starting to like kind of like, what is perfect? Like what is like the style that I'm trying to like do? And like what is like, you know, who am I with this work? You know,
Because I mean, there is a danger in.
I'm all over the place when I'm talking.
But yeah, but there is a danger in kind of seeing somebody else's work that you enjoy and then trying to emulate that, because there's a dishonesty in that, because that's not yours, right? Now, granted, you should steal like an artist in the sense of learning techniques and stuff that you like. But I think there is that importance as well to find your own kind of like your own language too, right?
Yeah.
To kind of steer away from just being another copy of another artist and trying to find your own, you know, your own language, your own voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, not to get too, I guess, into the psychology of it, but like we've mentioned before that we feel like our art is an extension of who we are.
Yeah.
So in some ways, it's like, it's a perfectionism that you can control because it's a part of you. It's something that can be very self-indulgent. And so you almost want to get it perfect for you,
Yeah.
because it's kind of one of those things as an artist that you feel you're so tantalizingly close to actually getting it perfect. And you
Right.
have the ability to get it perfect. So you want to at least try, you know? I don't know. That could just be me, but something
See-
to chew on, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. It's like life for me. I think about my life right now, where it's like I can do whatever I want, and that joy like really gets me to be like, we can do whatever. We can test this. We can try this. Get better at painting. Get better at this. Get better at character design. Get better. Let's learn from other artists. We have the ability to. We have the opportunity to like learn from these people. Like, yeah, why not? It's like, to me, it's like the curiosity, and kind of seeing like the curiosity of like, I could be better.
Yeah.
Let's explore that. Let's see if I can be.
How far you can push it.
Yeah. And I think that's the key to getting better, and not to like strive for perfection, is to be curious about like, where can you go? Can you get better? And you want to find out that, that question.
I almost find it in a way to add to that. It's almost like if you live a life free of expectations of others,
Yeah.
in a way, you might even get to that perfection without realizing it.
Yeah.
No, because when you take the weight off and the pressures, you're almost like you're free of that.
Yeah.
So you don't care if people like it or not. You're just doing it because you do it, and then you're kind of free to just create willy nilly.
Yeah. Well, I think though with art, like, especially art, perfection is such a subjective thing. So you kind of become your own judge of when you've reached it. And I think that it can be really difficult for some people to kind of find that line, or to decide what perfection is to them.
Yeah.
Because like you're constantly being fed like these ideas, especially like I love watching those like, oh, day in the life of an artist kind of thing,
Yeah.
But I have it in the back of my mind that I'm like, yeah, but this is edited. This is probably several days where they've woken up and been like, nah, the lighting, it's just not doing it today. So today is not the day that I film. Or like, you know what, I'm not good at drawing today, so I'm going to leave my filming for another day.
My favorite is like this person on TikTok with like day in the life of me, but then they do they add the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Where they like leave the camera there, run into the bed, pretend like they're waking up, and then and then run back and turn it off.
Exactly. So like we get this idea that it's like, yes, the life of an artist.
Yeah.
That is perfection. But like, you recognize that person is running back and forth from their bed,
There's
or
all
like,
these like extra things,
Yeah, like trying to find the right angle, making sure their hand isn't in the way when they're drawing. Like, again, everybody has bad art days. Like, not filming on those bad art days.
Yep.
Oh
yeah. You see the one time, but all the other times they're like,
yeah.
oh my God. Yeah.
So like as a young artist, especially, like it must be really difficult to like look at those videos if you don't have that in the back of your head and you're not just like watching it for, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like it can really affect you.
Yeah.
And your views of perfection in art and your own work and how you should be doing your work,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't know, I think it's kind of hard to say how to avoid that because it's such a personal thing.
Have you guys kind of reached to the point where are you still kind of like thinking like this needs to be perfect?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
No, for me, I think I've taken way too many drugs. my ego is dead. Know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. For me, it's not an ego thing.
Yeah.
For me, this means so much to me that I want to do it right. And so sometimes, like Sketch and I were just talking before you got here about how I'm actually going back and there's like a few panels that I'm redrawing.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really happy that I did do them because in that case, it wasn't telling the story the way I wanted it to. And I had just gone with it. Yeah, this is good enough. All right, moving on to the next panel.
Yeah.
And I hated that I did that. And that was kind of one of those situations where, maybe not perfectionism, but certainly holding myself to a higher standard benefits the story more.
Yeah.
And so like I'm going back and I'm redrawing a few of them. And it's not an ego thing. It's,
There's a lot of, and I think that's the thing too. It's like, how do you approach perfection? Like the thing. Are you doing it for other people? Or are you doing it for you?
yeah.
I honestly, like a lot of times, like I do not think about other people when I make anything or when I decide anything. If someone tells me maybe I should, I lean harder to not doing it. Like, nope, now that you say it, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I literally not that I hate people's opinion, but I literally love the freedom of being able to do things my way. And it's
Outside of that,
it's
yeah.
barely crossed my mind to like do something by the influence of other people. I have to actively like, okay, well, they said this, I should really do this. And I find that like a lot of times for me, it's a detriment to my career actually, because it took me an education for me to learn how to take notes, design notes, or criticism from other people, which we had all the episodes before we're talking about criticism and how I kind of went through that, and it's like that is because I only wanted to please myself in my work,
Right.
I only had me to do to please it, but I still strive to make it as best as I could. That's why I shoved as many details as I can, because I thought that was, like my way, like that was like what perfection looks like, because my influence were based off of like, Jeff Darrow and like all these like amazing like detail artists and stuff, So I don't know, and I think your motivation or your not motivation, but like you're like kind of like reasoning to do anything. That's kind of an interesting way to start, to kind of seeing like why you're doing all this in the first place.
Yeah.
Why you want it to be perfect in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, I do try, don't get me wrong. It's,
Oh no, we know you do.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do try, and I like learning. I like going back and learning more. There is an acceptance though that I know I don't know fucking anything in terms of like art, that it's so the scope is so huge that whatever I think I know, no, this is it's like the iceberg is like here on the surface, but like it's massive underneath. Of
What do you know?
I don't.
You know.
I know coffee.
What do you know? Yeah, you do know coffee.
Yeah.
You know coffee?
Yeah.
Do you know that's
Yeah,
what
he
you're
does.
drinking?
I know how to make it. I know how to roast.
Is that
it,
what you're
you know?
drinking?
I know what.
Where'd you get that from?
Almacen, right here on Queen Street.
Fancy.
Get it?
Pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah.
I have coffee early in the morning, but I still.
Oh,
still
it's
get one here,
fantastic.
'cause,
But no, I still strive for learning and improving and
good.
and doing more.
Well, I mean, like we were talking, it was a couple weeks ago. You posted like this one art for the challenge. For
Yes.
Oh man, yeah.
and it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, I was like really blown away that like it was like this huge shift of like what you usually draw. And I was really happy for you.
And I mean, I do want to learn more. It's just that knowing me, and I'm like, and I think one thing I've kind of realized over the years, there's this mainstream way of drawing that appeals to a lot of people, and I can't get to that. But then it's like, but I'm not mainstream, like in general, like this.
Yeah.
This, you can't package this to the masses.
But
you
see,
know, like,
You're like Jughead. You're weird.
I guess, yeah.
It's funny because like I feel like with you, you tend to really like think about what other people think, whether it's to go away from it, but you still consider, because for me, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what mainstream looks like to me. Cause that's how much, you know, and I think the healthier way to approach it is like, you know, what is like my work? How does this look perfect? Without thinking of like what the art landscape looks like. For me, it's like, I know this is, I get to the point where like selfishness, where it's like my work is like my style, my world. Like I can dictate what a trend could look like. That's how egotistical I am. I want to reach to the point where like my art becomes a trend.
That's cool.
But that's not based on like, is it my turn? Is it what's the world? What's the landscape look like? No, these people don't think about that stuff. They just work their ass off until the point where everyone just loves their work, right? But
I think this does kind of come though from the fact that I do consume like a lot of comics, right? So I'm currently like reading a lot of stuff, so I'm always like looking at like what's working, what's not. But yeah, you're right in that sense though, because there are works where you think that it shouldn't be very popular, but it is, you know.
And there's
works.
work out there where it's like you could say like what the fad is now, like what looks cool now, like whether it's comics or art. I mean, I tend to think about like fine art and, you know, contemporary work, and then somebody will do something that's like very retro, and they're like, "Holy shit, it's crazy!" and it becomes like this huge popular thing.
Yeah,
you know, like to me, like I think about sneakers or like fashion, like Virgil Abloh, like. You know, he's like, let's make deconstructed stuff look cool. He like broke everything that conventionally should not work, but it's what everybody wants right now. Different, new, refreshing.
It's true.
And that always breaks, that always like, you know, bucks the trend, right?
And I think that's going to be key going forward into this world, because I think AI, with the rise of AI in general, we're going to see a homogenization of a lot of artwork, of a lot of media, and people are going to get sick of it, you know?
Yeah.
Honestly, AI is just going to be like a whole new medium. It's a whole different thing. And I don't know if it's really going to like make people really broke.
Well, let me put it this way. If you gave me a hot dog today, like right now, a hot dog, I'd probably enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, a hot dog. Yeah, sure, it's like mixed meat or whatever the fuck, but I wouldn't say no.
Beans.
You give me a hot dog tomorrow, I'll be like, oh, cool, another hot dog. Okay, fine. Yeah. Tuesday, okay, another hot dog, I guess, if I'm hungry. Wednesday,
Thursday. By Wednesday, and if you still like it, you have an oral fixation.
Yeah.
Right.
Go see Freud.
Yes. But my point is, like, I think that while now people can look at AI art and like AI content and be like, oh yeah, sure, it's passable, it's fine, that eventually you'll get to the point where you're gonna get sick of it.
Eventually we'll figure out. Yeah. Eventually artists will figure out a way for it to be useful for them.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for kind of like, I just want more tools. I like more tools.
Well, I mean, thinking of perfectionism, like if you want to kind of boil down what is popular right now and what is considered like perfect in those eyes, just look at what AI art is producing.
Yeah.
Because it's taking all of those trends, all those coloring trends, all those line art trends, and it's putting it into artwork, and you can see what is considered like perfect in quotation marks,
right,
by like the concept art community, by the comic art community, just by what's coming out of the AI.
That's right.
And it, like Alvaro's right, the hot dog gets boring.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I mean, like those 80s like dark fantasy film stuff, I was like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
There's too much of it. Like
the
Jesus.
first like two were cool. I'm
Yeah.
like interesting. But then it
Yeah.
kept popping up on my feed and I'm like, all right.
It was just like creepy, and it left me a little bit like, I was like, is this all?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Again, like Alvaro, hot dog, boring.
It's true.
You know? Like
Yeah.
you.
Well, we
So-
also don't like too much consistency.
Yeah.
That's why like fashion is cyclical. Like we'll just switch completely. I mean, everything that we've talked about, cyberpunk to solar punk, like we love to switch to the opposite of what that is. And I think in comics, details were kind of like taken back by the wayside because there was so much of it in the 90s.
Yeah.
And like we just constantly switched to like, oh, it's more simplistic and more, this kind of stuff, like independent style, indie style kind of books
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I think we constantly change and like, switch up a lot. And I don't know.
Yeah,
Who
I
knows?
mean that is interesting that you bring up comics, like because like for me, the perfect comic would be probably like Silver Surfer's Mobius issue, but like even there, you could look at it and be like, why are all the people long faced? Why are all the buildings like circular?
Yeah.
you could point it, but
Yeah.
to me that comic, those two issues, fucking perfection, like absolutely,
Well, because the thing is like,
yeah.
you are dictating like for that, right? Like I consider those things like kind of perfection because you're towing the line from like style to like art, like technically what is good. Like his compositions are still phenomenal. His line work is impeccable. Proportions.
The scale,
that's
the
just
scale, dude. Like
Yeah,
of
like-
Galactus, you
yeah.
feel that shit, right?
yeah. Colors are amazing. There's like already so many things fundamentally that's like obviously like really great in those, but there's like places where he can play that
Yeah.
makes it himself.
Yeah.
And so you're constantly towing the line between like what are those things to you, you pull one, you stretch out a little bit on the other one, and then you make these ones like, lean hard. And that's the dance that artists do every day, right? That's how you build your style, and that's how you create like a definition of who you are versus everyone else.
Yeah.
Right. But and then the striving for perfection is just trying to fine tune those to the point that it's just like iconic and like memorable forever. Right. That's
And
what you're just,
accepting that not everyone's going to like it.
yeah. And the more popular you become, the more wider the net is for all the demographic to see it. And then the opinions of everyone will always come. Also, time.
Yeah.
The opinions of everybody at that time could also change as they get older. Like there's a lot of people who hate
That's
like,
true.
like there was like a point where like, the movie Gone in 60 Seconds, everybody thought was like whatever. And now it's like, man, remember that movie? It's like nostalgic, and it's like a time, a moment in time.
Another one, Speed Racer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
That is so true.
People saw that and were like, what the fuck was that? And then
Yeah.
now they're like, yo, that movie was crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It just needed time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like your perception of like whether that's good or not could also change, like within your work. You could miss like how you do a specific style. So, I don't know. I think it's healthier if you're just kind of kinder to yourself with your work, and instead of getting, frustrated, just be curious about like, can you do it better? And it's like time is on your side always. When it comes to art, time will always be on your side. Just give it a sec, redo it if you want to. Like you can do anything,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and mostly just I think have fun with it. I think it's a part of your life, as you said. Art is life. Life is art.
If
They go hand in hand. in that
there's
sense,
something
right?
in your art that is not that you're not that happy with, just like ask yourself why, but don't beat yourself up over it because it's not worth it.
Yeah. Have you guys ever had like a time where you've fallen victim to it?
Yes, like
Probably
trying to strive
probably
for
a lot.
perfection
Yeah,
and you just like
probably
gave up on it.
Yeah.
Very, very, very long ago, in the dark ages.
How did you like get out of it?
Maturity.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was a teenager back then, right?
And
And-
you've never had moments of that.
Afterwards, nah. Nah, because I just realized the escape lab specimen that I was, so
It's a failed fucking clone of
yes, exactly.
Nicolas Cage and a hot dog,
Yes, exactly.
which explains your
Then you get-
earlier analogy.
You get
I
this.
just imagine like you're like the third mouse in like Pinky in the Brain.
We don't talk about that mouse.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know, but like there is this kind of acceptance that okay, this is the world at large. This is most folks, and here's the black sheeps. Like here's and that's cool though because I got into punk in my late teens.
I think also like punk
so.
music is like I think is like a lifesaver to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well-
because it allows you to be you.
When you have like
the end of the
60-second
day.
songs,
Yeah.
there is a sort of awesome rawness to it too, right?
Yeah.
This ability to just, or even the fashion. Fuck, you look at the fashion, the way it was like it was offensive in the clash of like colors and
Yeah.
and patterns and all of that because they didn't care.
Yeah.
right. Like they really didn't care, and that was kind of the point. But for me, one of my most key inspirations to being me is like Minor Threat, Fugazi.
You love that group.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. They couldn't get signed, so they
Right.
made their own label.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What more do you need, right?
Yeah.
Like to be able to do that, and a lot of bands did that. A lot of bands were like, "Oh shit, we don't have a venue or concert. We'll just open my garage here, and we'll have like
Yeah.
5 punk artists do a show here."
Yeah.
That kind of
love that
ability
so much.
to say, you know what, fuck it, nobody's opening the door. I'm gonna draw a door, and then I'm gonna make a hole. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that was like my mentality as an artist back
Yeah.
then. Like people were in Sheridan, people were coming up with groups and stuff like that. And, we weren't being asked or they wouldn't, I'd showed my stuff to other group artists. It's like trying to be popular, right? Not being popular, but belonging to a group.
Yeah.
And then these guys were like doing art shows and doing all these things. And like, we weren't let in, like me, Mark and Joe, Dennis, all these guys were like not a part of a group. So we're like, oh, fuck it. Let's do our own group.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then we
Yeah,
were like
exactly.
the biggest, we had the most amount of people in our group that people were like showing sketchbooks to me, kind of
Yeah.
going like, can I join? Guys, here's my work. Can you take a look at, like, it got so ridiculous. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I realized like, no, I have power. Like I have ability to bring people like together. And it makes you like realize when you take your, like, when you take control of your destiny and your like where you want to go, you can, it's not impossible. Like it can happen, and then the perfection kind of comes where it's like, oh, I need to make this better, more refined, more this. The danger is too much,
Yeah.
right? That's when you do too much of it.
But I mean, consider this: punk music inspired the Pixies, which then inspired Nirvana, which then became the biggest band in 1993,
Right.
and created a genre of its own.
Right.
Like, that's fucking crazy, right?
Hell
Like
yeah.
some could say, Nevermind is a perfect album. Maybe I don't know, but like that
I mean,
it reached.
he
that,
did put a lot of pressure on himself, though.
This
Yeah.
is true.
This is to
Yeah.
keep in mind.
Yeah.
Right. Not to say that that's okay.
But like the
Yep.
fact that you got
Is
this,
it though? No.
you got this like top selling record, out of these roots of like just being whatever, do
Yeah.
do it yourself kind of
Yeah.
attitude. That's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's really cool.
like on the, talking about like succumbing to your, that strive for perfection. I don't know if I've fully like felt that, but like I think one of those things, like whether you're happy with your work or not, because I got to a point where I got too much into like trying to make something, like trying to cram as much detail as I can. I remember this one time I was like drawing this like villain that I wanted to do for like this book that I was working on, Decade, or Charlie. I made like, I changed the name so many times, but I was like writing up all the stuff and like I'm trying to make it like this universe or or this world of like characters and all these superheroes. I made so many characters within this, but I only had like 3 issues that I drew, but then I wrote like 6 issues. And then I kept drawing. I was like, no, this has to be perfect. Maybe I need to redo these 3 issues because I'm writing more stuff, more characters that are like would be better. and then I wrote like this big character, and I was like doing like this illustration of all these characters on the floor, and he's like standing there, and his like, I was like redrawing, I was obsessing over this like villain that like his pants were like torn so much that it was like too much. I was like, I don't even think that's how pants work. What the fuck am I doing? Then I was like just trying to put as much detail as I can, that I was like, oh fuck.
I've gone too far.
Yeah. I like went too far over the deep end, that like I didn't post any new pages, and like I just was stuck. And I was like, oh fuck, so now that's my new problem. Is like I'm too much into building the world than I am actually like making content, you know. And I think that's one of the things that I found was that I learned was like, it's what's more important is creating the work and putting it out there, and you can get better as you go, but don't forget finishing is important.
Yeah.
Finishing is more important than perfection, because
Yeah.
you can get better as you go, but don't forget to finish stuff.
Yeah. Well, there's like a few years ago, and I think I mentioned this in the first time we covered perfectionism, but I found this one author had uploaded all of the drafts that he did of his book.
Whoa.
And he's like, yeah, so here's me editing the 7th draft of my book. And it was like, take out this chapter. This paragraph is useless. And it's just like writing all over the place. And he's like, remember that by the time you get that book in your hand, it's been through several drafts.
Yeah.
It is your first draft is always going to be shit.
Yeah.
And I always have to remind myself of that, because like, as we talked about when we were talking about being hard on ourselves and stuff, I'm incredibly hard on myself.
Yeah.
And I do hold myself to a really high standard, just based on how I want to tell my stories and how I want things to look in order to get those messages across. And I have to keep reminding myself of that draft that author with like all the red on it, where it's like, no, you know what? Take your time, you know, just get it out there. You can fix it as you go. Like, you know, like not to the point where like in those old pages where I said, I just kind of be like, this is good enough.
Yeah.
That was too far.
Yeah.
But just reminding myself that like, no, by the time I get this out to the reader, they're not going to see all of the thinking that I did, all like the drafts that I did of the earlier issues, and like all the writing adjustments that I made, and, you know, all the sketch sheets of the characters that I never posted. They're not going to see that. And I'm not going to see anything else.
Do you find that like, because I make mountains out of molehills. Like I make it like too important. Do you do that too with like your work, where it's like, if I don't get this right, like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
Wait,
I definitely
are you
do
thinking
that.
like the Jodorowsky, this movie will change the world?
No.
Not necessarily.
Like I'm
no.
trying to do something, and if I don't do this, the whole book sucks. Like
Yeah.
Fuck.
Definitely.
yeah,
Like
that's the being hard on yourself. That's what
Yeah.
you don't have.
exactly.
We
Like,
have this.
It's so
Yeah.
bad. Like there's so
Yeah.
many times where I'll be like, oh my God, like this line, it reads so terrible.
It's like
or-
that means it'll affect this and affect this, and it's like, this doesn't like make this
Yeah.
important enough, so then they won't be able to get what this is. Like everything is like related to each other, because like I know that like when you write, it's like it's a very
everything's connected.
it's a it's like a
It's very
it's like a
red
house
string.
of cards, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if this is like weak, the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah.
Right. It's a very like complicated web, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so like trying to write for that is like so difficult, right? Because then everything is important. They all kind of rely on each other,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it hard because you're trying to make something perfect, and then it's like, you know.
Yeah. Or even like from an art standpoint, like one of the reasons why I'm fixing those pages is because some of the expressions came off as too harsh
Right.
for the character that I was drawing. And I'm like, no, this is too harsh.
Right.
Like this completely changes the character.
Yeah.
Like now he looks like an asshole when he's saying these things, as opposed to being playful.
Right.
And that it's so important, like that distinction, that no, I can't just leave this the way it is, because it actually does change the interpretation of the character. And am I being too hard on myself? I don't know. Probably yes. But that's where my perfectionism comes in. It's in, you know, just I can't help but
Yeah.
be hard on myself. And it's, you know.
I think it starts with like self-talk.
Yeah.
Right. Like be a little bit nicer to yourself when you're critiquing yourself. Because I think every artist tends to be as hard as other people, like if not harder to themselves when they're talking to themselves through the stuff, you could be a little bit nicer, and then that's kind of where it starts, right? It's like, okay, let's take off the pressure a little bit. Let's learn the reality of the pressure. There is no pressure.
Yeah.
Right. And then we can give it a second and like use the time that you have, because yeah.
Yeah.
Not that it's not a big deal, but like you can do it, like you can fix it, or you can make it the way you want it to, just without the pressure.
Yeah. Well, like I've said before, I have a Mary.
Right.
And
Yep.
a Mary is very valuable to have. And for anyone who's just like a new listener, I have a friend named Mary. She is the biggest fan of my unreleased comic that is in existence, because she knows everything that has happened and will happen
Right.
up to the point that I've written. And
It's like a custom book just for her.
Yeah, pretty much. Like anytime I do anything new, I'm like, okay, I just did this. And she's like, brilliant. So get yourself a Mary, because it does help with that sort of like nagging voice in the back of your head going,
Yeah.
it's not good enough yet.
Right.
Because then you have a Mary being like, no, it actually is good enough because I see exactly what you're doing here, and then confirms your thoughts. And it's very nice.
That's nice. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
So if you don't have an inner Mary, get yourself an outer Mary, because they're very useful.
Have you thought about like maybe trying to achieve more perfection into your work?
Oh, no. Yeah,
Hey,
no.
you do better.
It's just
Can you just do fucking better?
No, yeah, no.
That sounds terrible.
the opposite of a Mary.
Yeah.
Don't
Hey.
get a mad sketch.
Hey, get better. What the fuck is this shit?
Take it or leave it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking,
You know.
yeah. But I don't know, because like I am striving for more, right? Like I am ambitious. There's still that drive,
Right.
right?
Yeah, because there's a difference between ambition and being hard on yourself.
yeah. Like
If anything, it's probably healthier.
100%.
I still want to achieve. There's quite a lot I do want to achieve, and to get to a point where I can achieve that.
Right.
Yeah.
Nail polish.
Yeah. I guess I could do some nail polish, I suppose.
On that topic, I think you should do the nail polish stuff.
Okay.
Just give it a shot. I mean, does that
I
make
can
you
teach
happy?
you.
Yeah,
It'd be
sure.
fun.
It actually does help with your like having a steady hand when doing art.
Oh, 100%. I believe it. Yeah,
I actually found that like my drawing got better when I got better at painting my nails. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
just go for it. Anyway, sorry, continue.
But yeah, no. I was just gonna say, like, I do have that ambition, that drive to do more, to be better, to have a successful life.
Yeah.
In terms, but like one of my goals for my life is just to be able to create with you guys.
Yeah.
Whether we're creating a fucking like movie, whether we're making music, a podcast, art, animation, I don't fucking know.
Animation would be fun.
Like-
animating yours would be awesome.
That's so gay.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That pat on the shoulder, he'll take it. That's it.
You're
I know.
welcome. Senpai
I know.
noticed. There we go.
Yeah, he's
Success.
happy.
That's all I need.
He's happy now.
There you go. Right.
Senpai.
Yep. That's it.
I saw that. I was like, okay.
I found the patch and added it on myself.
Nice.
There you go. See, that's all I need, right? But yeah, no. I think it's that to look at it in the point of like live as much as possible, draw as much as possible.
Yeah.
When you're living on purpose, when you have the drive to want to live more, your art's gonna reflect that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like Bob Ross said, man, happy accidents.
Yeah.
Sometimes keep the little weird things, keep the quirks, I don't know.
That's why we keep you around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is the quirk.
Yeah. He's our happy little accident.
I want to use.
The little cloud.
Yeah, little tree.
I'm the little tree.
Yeah, you're a little happy little tree.
Yeah.
I want to use the rest of this episode to talk about Creed 3.
Go for it.
Really? Okay, sure. Yeah, let's go
Yes,
Go
because talking
watch
about
it.
perfection.
Go watch it. It is holy shit.
for it. Better than Creed 1 and 2?
So story wise, like
Yeah.
it's a continuation of it or whatever. But like
Because
Michael B. Jordan.
Yes, he was the director.
Michael B. Jordan
Yeah.
is a great fan of anime. And if you watch this knowing that, you get it. It is so good. The fight scenes are insane. There's some actually what's so great about it too is the trailers don't actually depict how good it is. They hide it. They're not hiding it, but they're not really showing it.
They don't show you all the good parts.
Because you have to see it. Like, you have to see the whole fight scene when it happens. Because it is like, I mean, he literally, like, in press junkets, like, talked about how, like, he was inspired by, like, Hajime no Ippo, Naruto, and Dragon Ball, and, like, all this other stuff. And I was like, fuck yes. Okay, let's see now. And it's, like, legit.
Yeah.
Like, just, like, the way he moves cameras and the way he pauses moments and, like, the speed. Yes.
It's such an interesting take though, because he's the character of the action and also the director. I was like, how did he?
Yeah, but that happens all the time.
Like, how did he do all that? Right? Like, that's really
a lot
cool.
of it's a lot of the planning, right? You always have like a second unit director or whatever that's there, or a cinematographer can be there with you, right? But like, it's him achieving the look that he wants, right? So you're not, being a director doesn't mean that you always have to be behind the camera looking at it or whatever. Yeah. It's the planning and it's the setting it up and then like knowing what you want to get done, right? That's what's so great about what he did is because he nailed it. Like, I mean, talking about like those moments of like, he talks about like moments of like the anime where like there's a shot of it, he gets punched and then it goes to like his back and you see like all the sweat beads just like bounce off and it's straight up Dragon Ball. Just like, shock of the face and then just like the reverberation of like impact off of his back. I was like, am I watching anime? What the fuck?
What blew me away was when you were talking about we love him too.
Oh, Jonathan Majors?
Yeah. How his character was like in jail for so long and like his fight moves are actually like old school,
like,
but they don't say it. You just have to know it.
Yeah. And then I talked to Johan about it and he's a boxer. So he was like, yeah, dude, like he does like, he does kind of like this defense move, which is like a very old school, like, George Foreman uses it and a bunch of older heads use it. And they all have names and he was like kind of calling them out, kind of going like, oh, that's like this. The only thing he didn't like was that he used it too much because if you use it too much, then it's very easy to know when to, which is funny because at the end of it, that's kind of how he got defeated, which like, that's how he got, so it's like, oh yeah, cool. And it's like, it still has a lot of like storytelling, kind of like martial, I'm like a geek when it comes to like martial arts. So there's a major component of it of storytelling when you're actually doing like action scenes. There's like, should be able to read how the story is being told through the fight, right? Without having any conversation, you're just kind of seeing what happens. And there is that in this, but they were adding a lot of like metaphors to what's going on between the two. Those two actors are amazing together. And I think I'd love to see those two in another movie because they're phenomenal. Like Jonathan Majors is a monster. He is, holy shit, he's amazing. Everything about that movie was awesome. Yeah. And like the drama in it. Just like the action in it, like talking about like reaching almost to perfection. This was like amazing.
Rocky
like,
3. Creed 3.
Creed 3. Like having that idea in your head and then being, it working was like that. Those are one of those moments where you're like, whoa, that like he got what he wanted on film, and this is his debut. Yeah.
Which is incredible.
That's really cool.
Crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we're so excited to see like what he does next. Like
it's gonna be crazy.
Oof.
Oh man.
Oof.
Jonathan Majors too. I'm such a fan. Like, holy shit, that guy. He's insane. He's so quirky and so like weird that it's like I'm like, oh, I love this. Like his choices of like movement. Like there's like a part in it that me and Johan were joking. Like we're kind of like caught it. Like how it's so interesting. He kind of walks in and he's supposed to like do this, but he's going like dipping in. Like he's doing all these like weird movements, and you're like, what is he doing? That's so cool. Like, what is that? Like
making it work.
He's got the swagger.
He made like a character out of a thing that not boxers really do, but made it like into a boxing style. You know what I'm like a look of a guy that's a boxer. Like he's creating a new character, like a interesting quirk of a person.
They feel real because of what he's added.
He's adding to a personality, and you're like. That's how you do that. And it's a mindset. Like he is an interesting
Take note,
guy.
Jared Leto.
He's just an interesting dude. Jonathan Majors is such a weird dude. I love it. Like he carries a mug wherever he goes and he has a whole metaphor about it. Like he's walking in the red carpet and he has a mug everywhere he goes, it's a different mug. He has I think like 5 in rotation that he
Oh.
does. 2 of them don't have handles, but he has like a whole thing about it, and it's about like filling up your life in the cup. Like he has like a whole metaphor. I'm like, yo, this
But
guy is so interesting.
When you think
He's
about
an
it,
artist.
he is perfect for Kang.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
has to play the same character,
Yep.
but different
every time. yeah.
Every time.
So
Yeah.
So
and
it's
so
very interesting.
And I guess I can loop it around to like perfection, where it's like he's just being himself.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid of like what other people's influences are. He's just like putting in all these things and trying them out, and then does it work? Committing, trying out something and then achieving your own kind of perfection. I think that's like an interestingly healthier way to approach it, where it's like it's not about other people. It's about like me making this the way I have my head thinking that it could be, right? And then going for it in a healthy way where it's like, it gets to the point where you get out of it alive, basically,
Yeah.
right?
This does remind me of Nicolas Cage as well, man. Because when you think about it, he has found his own
Yeah.
perfection.
Oh my God, yeah,
In his own strange way,
yeah,
he has found his
He
own.
is perfection.
Yeah.
yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
because I've watched a lot of Cage, man.
Dude, Unbearable Weight
know.
kind of like capped it to be like, oh, this
Yeah.
is Nicolas Cage.
Which is
We
what
get it
Alvaro and
now.
I have been saying for years.
Exactly.
We were right.
We were right.
We were right.
I love that. I just
Father.
love that.
But
I
also,
love that
one of the
movie.
greatest lines
Fucking
is
nuts.
no, Nicolas Cage, we must do LSD. Pedro Pascal, fucking love you, man.
Oh, him. I love that. He's also amazing.
Yeah.
He's also have an interesting quirk.
Dude.
I love that guy.
And how
Yeah.
many years did it take for him from being just an extra
Oh my God.
to being a fucking star?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
No.
He's been around for a long fucking time, dude.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like,
He's
a journeyman.
earned.
Yeah, he's earned it.
I
Yeah.
mean, he's definitely
God.
a North Star for me in terms of like where
He
you
would
want to
be, yeah.
get
That's
to.
what I love about it.
So.
Like Last of Us, Unbearable Weight, Mandalorian, like one after another. He's like releasing all, and then Jonathan Majors the same thing. He was like, from like Ant-Man to like Creed 3, and also not to mention like his older stuff, like Harder They Fall.
Yeah.
You should watch that. It is a fantastic all black cast like cowboy film. It's fantastic. It's so good. Anyway, yeah. Cool stuff.
Very
Man.
cool stuff.
You're perfect.
You're just okay.
Whatever you're doing, you're perfect. Okay?
I think you're cool.
Tommy,
There you go.
tell us what you think about perfection and what, like, how do you
Although you still have to impress Toby. How could you impress Toby?
You
Through
can't.
email. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you can.
send
I
your dicks
guess.
at warriorfriends.ca.
Send your dicks.
Tell us about perfection on the Discord.
Yes.
What is your take on it? How do you handle do you try to strive for perfection? Do you try to reach to that level every time you create artwork? Let us know. I'd like to open the dialogue and chat about it. And if you're watching it on YouTube, let me know about it on the comments below. What do you think about perfection? Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that bell for notification.
God damn you.
He's allowed to do that now.
I
I
know
know.
he is. I hate it.
Make sure you like and subscribe.
It's
Hit that bell for
perfectly
notifications. I want to say
I'll
that
accept
faster.
it.
I want to say it as fast as I can.
Oh boy.
Every time I'm going to try it. And thank you so much for watching this episode. We did this episode because it was one of our oldest topics in our audio podcast.
You can go
We
back
figured-
though and check it out.
If you want to go back and check it out,
Maybe things have
I think
changed
it's
some of our
episode
opinions.
6 or episode 5.
it's like one of our super early episodes.
Yeah.
We're at what, episode 96
That-
right now?
that one-
98?
98, I think.
98. We're
rec-
close.
That was
Close.
recorded on Discord over.
Yeah. We used to
Over
do this thing
pandemic.
where it's like we record like we're all through Discord connected, and then we have our microphones, and then we all have to individually record at the same time, and then
Yeah.
we mix it together.
Oh yeah, we had the 1,
Yeah.
2,
Oh,
2,
yeah.
3, click. I remember that.
Fucking what? And then I'd have to sync them up together.
Oh yeah.
This is so much nicer, you guys.
Oh my god, yeah, so much nicer and warmer.
So much warmer.
You know what?
How you living?
I'm actually not that like I thought I'd be like dying right now. Totally fine.
Cool.
You know,
Just crazy.
if you started sweating, just start singing the Coolio song.
I'm not even really sweating.
Gangster's Paradise.
I'm really surprised. I'm like nice and toasty. I love it. Yeah. But then also, like, I'm Filipino. My tolerance of heat is like ridiculous.
You're like, this is nothing.
Yeah. Like 30 degrees.
Get ready in just a few days.
I'm so freaking. I'm actually getting excited now. Now that like a lot of heavy things are out the way. I'm like, I get to like really think about it now. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna buy so many clothes, so much clothes. I'm going there with a backpack. I'm
Good.
going there with a backpack, and when I come back, I'm gonna have a luggage. That's
that makes sense.
buy a bunch of stuff, and I'm gonna get drunk in Japan.
Woo!
Beautiful.
That's when the only time I'll probably drink is with my buddy. But yeah. Actually, when you hear this episode, I will be back already from the trip. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. You will be.
Time.
Yeah.
So there we go. Time.
What is it?
Thank you guys so much. Check out our Instagram, we.re your friends. And yeah, we have plenty of stuff there. Post artwork and stuff, share other people's stuff. If there's like some artwork that you want us to share of your stuff, post it on Discord and we'll put it up on the Instagram. Woo. Yeah. Promotion.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to big up?
Not really.
No. That'd be all.
Nothing? You guys have nothing going on?
No.
Freaking losers.
I know. I really am. I'm okay with that.
No, you're not. You're not. You guys are perfect.
Oh,
I love it.
thank you, Sketch.
Remember, guys, you are never alone because
'Cause
we're
We're
your
your
friends.
friends. Yeah.
No farting noises? Really?